Hi friends, hope you are doing well. I am Dr. Ganguly. Welcome to my channel. So today I am going to talk about how you can use your reference list of papers to network. And this is important because many students do not get the opportunity to go to top international conferences, interact with people, and build up a network. Also, sometimes if you do go to conferences, what happens is that you are too diffident, you are too shy. Most researchers tend to be introverts, and so they do not like to speak to too many people. So what happens is that many PhD students do not have a strong network or even a weak network, and this can become a problem later when they are trying to apply for postdoctoral positions, trying to apply for faculty positions, or they are simply trying to get references for applying to any position. So let's look at how you can use your reference list and your literature survey to build up a set of references. So I'm going to discuss 5 points about this, and then we will end this video. So now, one of the things is that generally the process of doing a literature survey is considered to be very mundane and dreary by most PhD students, but you can make it more exciting if you think about the literature survey revealing to you the names and locations of your references. So this will then motivate you to do the literature survey with the end goal in mind, that you are trying to build a network, you are trying to learn about the research of these people, and then you are trying to figure out how you will write the introduction section of your thesis and of your papers. So this literature survey is the first source of getting the names of people who are going to be part of your network. So the number one point is that try to find a list of 10 to 20 people in your research field, and these are the people who will follow your work, who are able to follow your work in terms of its technical and research content, and also they are people who are going to like and appreciate your work. And make sure that this list comes up naturally, so don't try to force it. Do the literature survey and then see who are the key people in your area, and you will find that there are going to be a large number of people here. Now, I'd say that there is a natural bias among students to only select a few people from top university and profusely cite their work. So try not to do that. Try to pick a set which is sufficiently large, and it includes people at various levels in the field. So that will certainly help you with the next few points I'm going to mention. So the number 2 point is national diversity, and essentially wherever you are looking at these references, make sure that whatever country you are in, you find the top researchers in your area in that country. And this is very important because these people are often going to be in your thesis committee, or they may get some papers to review and so on. Also remember that later in life, if you ever apply to any of these universities and these people are in your research area, they are going to peruse your papers, and they will be quite sad to see that their names are not mentioned in the reference list. So do not neglect your national researchers in favor of only global researchers. So that's point number 2. Now point number 3 is global diversity. So essentially, you know that science is global, and therefore you need to cite papers of all the people around the world who are working in your research field. But what ends up happening is that people cite some people in excess, some people in less. So typically the people who are in certain countries tend to get cited more. So very often you may cite a lot of researchers in US, and later when you are applying for your postdoc position, you may find that as far as postdoc is concerned, there are many more postdoc possibilities, for example in Canada, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Korea, China, for that matter. So at that time you are going to find that your papers do not cite the people you are writing your emails to. You are attaching your papers in these emails, and they do not have the names of these important people in the field. So maintain global diversity. The next point is number 4, And here again it builds up on the third point, is that you need to understand the biases and problems in Google Scholar. So Google Scholar is essentially a search engine, and if you look at any topic, it's going to present the papers in terms of highest citation first and then declining order from there. So what it does, it tends to give more importance to the papers which were published before, because citations need time to build up. And so you will find that very often these are clustered around a few top universities in the world. And so if you only take the top papers in Google Scholar, you will end up citing the same papers many times in your own paper, and then you of course built into the theory that the papers which are cited more in Google Scholar tend to get cited even more, and so on. So try to curtail this process. There are several ways of doing this. You can actually target the particular country you are looking for in terms of papers and then search that keyword there. So for example, if you are looking at papers in, let's say, smart structures, and then you put in Japan also, you're going to find the papers published from Japan. That's one strategy. So you can do this with various countries around the world where research is going on, and you can pick out different papers from these countries and know what are the labs and universities in those countries which are doing research in that field. Now the second possibility is, instead of just looking at Google Scholar for all the years gone by, you look at the last 3 years or the last 5 years. And this is very important because this is going to give you the latest journal publication. So don't let your research get biased toward the seminal papers in the field. Of course, you can cite 1 or 2 seminal papers and maybe a review paper, but any literature survey is more current if it cites the papers within the last 3 to 5 years in the field. So keep that in mind. Google Scholar lets you essentially go and pick this time, so it's a custom range you can select when searching. Now remember that the countries which give you postdoc are often having a postdoc culture. So I've mentioned before that US has more of a PhD culture, and postdoc culture is often present in countries such as Europe, Japan, Australia, Canada, China, India, Mexico, Brazil, New Zealand, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and so on. So there are many universities around these countries where they often have ads for postdocs. So if you have done your literature survey with global diversity in mind, you have figured out the various people who are in these countries doing research, then when you are ready to graduate, or even when you want some names to put for who is going to review your journal paper, remember that in many cases you have to give 5 names for any journal paper you sent out to review, or you need to give names for your thesis, or even for your promotion to associate professor from assistant professor. This name thing is going to be with you as far as academia is concerned. Now the final 5th point is that write all these names down, maybe maintain a Excel spreadsheet for this kind of information. So maintain the name of the people, the affiliation, and most importantly their email. And once your paper is published, make it a point to send a polite email to these people, some of these people, that here is my attached paper, it's related to some work you have done in this area and in which your lab is interested in. So what this email is going to do is that this is going to make the person feel very good when they check out your paper, and believe me, the first thing they are going to do is look at the title of the paper, maybe look at the abstract, and then go to the reference list and see if their name is there. Because whenever a researcher does work in an area, he develops a lot of attraction toward that area. They have invested a lot of their time into that work, and so they really love to see if their paper is cited. So that's certainly going to make them remember you, and down the road, if you ask them for any form of postdoctoral position or even a reference letter, they may be willing to help you, because most people are willing to help younger faculty or even younger graduate students. Certainly everybody wants to help young PhD students. So that was my take today for how networking through references can help your career. And this is very important because many researchers are introverts. They do not get time and money to go to international conferences. Even if they go there, they cluster around other students. It's hard for them to develop the bravery and the guts to go and talk to the top researcher in the field. So certainly this strategy of indirect networking will help you in building your reference list without necessarily going through the pain of meeting people in reality face to face. So that was my video for today, and I will see you in a video sometime soon. See you then.